It can be tough, it can be challenging at times. In this video, I want to share with you some encouragement, some insights to help you through this process. And do just that, is to help you build a system and a process that allow you to get closer to your goals, your dreams, and your ambitions. Now, if you and I have not met yet, my name is Troy, and I want to help you in life. So let's face it, a lot of times that challenge, that pain, maybe even the suffering you experience is because you're working towards something. Maybe you have a distant dream, a vision, or a way you imagined you'd be living your life at this time. But the reality is there's a gap. There's where you actually are and where you want to go. And that right there is the pain, it's the suffering. So one is we have to reframe that, right? We have to close the gap. Hey, it could be a lot worse. There's a lot of beauty in my life. That's the acceptance and the gratitude that I often talk about. Acceptance, gratitude, it brings you back to the here and now and allows your brain to kind of open up again and start moving towards that vision. But ultimately, what I want to talk about this video is when you're experiencing these challenging times, when you're going through this season, I believe, I believe all of us have something in our heart that you desire, that you really want to move towards. It's like that distant dream. It's that higher calling. And the reality is it ain't going to be easy. It's going to take a lot of effort, a lot of work. And I believe to actually reach this point, it's going to take more time, more energy, more effort, more resources, more money, more consistency, more persistence than you ever imagined possible. And that's what it's actually going to take to get that goal, get to that destination. And if you solely focus on the goal, if you solely focus on the outcome, you'll end up quitting because it takes so long. It takes so much effort. It's so far away. It reminds me of, multiple things, right? But one of them is my journey with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I've done it for over a decade now. If you saw me now, you'd be like, oh man, the guy's like against just like a beginner. You'd be like, whoa, what the heck is like some kind of wizardry taking place? But the reality is, for at least the first 3 years, it was just me getting my butt kicked. And I was a pretty athletic guy, I had wrestling experience, boxing experience and stuff. But even for me, it was hard to pick up, right? I was still at a deficit when I go against somebody who had a lot more experience. And so a lot of times, if you're in that place, you're measuring yourself from someone else who's already a black belt, but you're still a white belt. You're still a blue belt. And so it's taking place as you move along this journey. Then one day you reach that 3-year mark and you get kind of okay, right? Like you're just surviving a little bit more. That's kind of this metaphor I'm using with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is you get okay. You leave practice, you're like, oh, I didn't get tapped out that much, or only once or twice. Maybe I actually tapped someone out once or twice. Not that you're comparing, you shouldn't compare like that, but it's just kind of this awareness, like, okay, I'm like getting better, but it doesn't feel like you're really getting better. Then 5, 6 years go by, and like, dude, I've been doing this forever, man. Shouldn't I be like good at this point? And I still go against this person, I get my butt kicked or whatever. It's not until you get the end of that growth period that you really start to excel. You really start to become the expert, the black belt in any area of life. And so you might be suffering because you think it's easy. You think that thing you want, the thing you're pursuing, should have happened by now. But what I want you to do is really learn to become the pro. And in fact, there's a book called Turning Pro by Steven Pressfield. I highly recommend this book because it talks about the difference, the switch, when you allow yourself to step into that arena and actually work on the thing, move towards the goal. Like maybe you have an idea, like you want to open a business. And as someone who has been an entrepreneur for over 2 decades, like I remember those first steps and even the steps now, it ain't easy, right? But it's like you're always just knocking on the door. You just keep going. You're just knocking over and over and over and over and over. But over time, through the process, you develop skill sets. You learn certain art forms. You learn a certain way of thinking. You allow yourself to grow and to expand. And so you might be looking at this goal like, I want to have this business, or I want this body that's in shape, or I want this career that I really embrace and enjoy, or I want to get my degree, whatever it is, or I want to be really good at this certain thing. I want to learn how to play guitar or sing or express myself through music, whatever it is, right? Even just hobbies, that's a great place to do it. Have something that you're working towards, something that's sharpening your craft. It's calling certain parts of you to step forward, to be developed. You want to go into situations where you feel small, where you feel insecure. You want to be in situations where you're both at times the biggest in the room, but oftentimes the smallest in the room, because it shows that you're growing, you're stretching yourself. And so what you do is you allow yourself to become the professional in this. You go, I'm going to master this. I'm going to get good at this thing. And so for me with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, it was like, all right, like I'm locked in. What's the extra stuff I have to do? Maybe I have to watch some videos. Maybe I have to hire somebody to work one-on-one with. Maybe I have to get a group of people together, like a little mastermind. We'll come early in the morning. We'll train together. When I did those little things, my game really started to accelerate. I did all of those things. That's when my game really started to take off. Because until then, I was just in the process. But then I was like, I'm going to start competing, right? And if I compete, I'm going to need these extra things. I'm going to need the mastermind group, my little group I met together. I'm going to need the coach. I'm going to put extra hours, extra effort in. I'm going to need to study on my off time. And then my game accelerated. But it wasn't until I allowed myself to go and turn pro. So what I want you to think about is whatever you're building. Say you want to build that business. You might need to study every single day. Maybe it's a half hour. You're going to listen to something. It's an audiobook. You're going to listen to a half hour every single day. Maybe you're going to join a mastermind group. Maybe you're going to get a coach. Maybe you're going to find somebody who has run a business before and see if you can have, you want to add value. As I say, have coffee with them, but see other ways you can add value. Maybe you're actually going to go work for someone for free just so you can learn from them. All things that you absolutely should do and can do. I've done many of these things or all of those things. And what you do by that is you're gaining experience. You're accelerating the process, and you're also showing yourself that you mean it this time, that you really want to do it this time. And again, it's going to take more time, energy, effort, resources than you ever imagined possible. But that will move you towards the goal. And so you build out this system. It's the half hour of this, the studying here, the meeting these people here, whatever it is. And then you get leverage over yourself by seeing how valuable these action steps will be. So if you continue to do this, what might be some outcomes? Get really clear on that. If you don't do this, you've heard me talk about this before, what might be the outcomes? If I continue this is my reality. If I don't, this is my reality. And then create a non-negotiable, like I got to do this. And what you're doing is you're essentially planting seeds. And I'll totally probably butcher this, but one of my, I like to read a lot of the sacred, I call them sacred texts, right? Like the Bhagavad Gita, the Bible, the Tao Te Ching, whatever, right? I find there to be, these are ancient texts have a lot of wisdom in them. And one of the ones in the Bible talks about, you'll be like a tree planted near the water's edge and bring forth its fruit in its season. And so there's another part of that that's being connected to spirit, connecting to God, the universe, staying in alignment with that. So you're doing things out of your heart space, of this deep connection, not just out of your head. Like, I just want to make money. I just want to look better than other people. Or I just want to prove them wrong. All those are fair. You often will go through a season of that in your life anyways, and it's okay. You can embrace that. You can even bring parts of that into your journey later on, but just parts, right? Overall, you want to have this deeper connection, this alignment that aligns with you, God, the universe, and the world. And then when you do that, you take action. You repeat the process over and over, right? You're studying. It seems like you're getting no results. No one's listening. You're so far away from making that reality happen. Your job still sucks. You're still getting rejected by guys or girls, and you still, you're going to the gym. You haven't lost any weight yet, but you just stick with it over and over. You keep planting those seeds. You remind yourself it ain't supposed to be easy. Anything worth having is going to take time. It's going to take effort. But again, remember, simultaneously, it actually is getting easier, because you look back and you go, wait a second, this thing that used to happen isn't happening anymore. When I used to go to jiu-jitsu, I get tapped out every day. That's not happening anymore. Maybe I'm not like winning. I'm not the best here, but I'm better than I was. You're moving on the journey. And the growth, what it starts at, it's this little gradual growth. It just kind of barely climbs. You're barely getting better. You do it over and over and over. And then one day, you get this exponential part where you really start to accelerate and you really start to get better. You really start to separate. And because part of it is so many people have quit along the way. They quit. They stopped. They did something different. There's something else. And it's cool. No judgment, right? But you're developing compounding effort, compounding effects for yourself now. You're learning things faster and sharper. Your data points, your reference points have grown. You get closer and closer to the better result that you're actually moving towards. So allow yourself to build the system and to be in process. You hold the goal, the end result loosely. Remember, if you want water, say I go over to a little stream and I want water, I don't grab the water and squeeze it. I don't squeeze the life out of it. That's your dream. That's your vision. It's your ambitions. You don't squeeze it so tightly. I always say, like, you cast your vote. This is where I would like to go. So I'm heading towards, but then you hold it loosely. You allow God, you allow universe to work with you. And you hold that water, you scoop it with your hand, and you hold it loosely. And then you actually have water. So you don't grab water and squeeze it. There won't be anything left. You grab it loosely. You cup it, just like your goals. You have to allow universe, God, source, you have to allow it to work with you along this journey. And so you build a process that allows you to stretch your metaphorical box, because you have a natural autopilot system. You, I, them, they, everybody does. You have this autopilot box that brings you the results you have in your life right now. It's going to show up in the people you surround yourself with, probably the money you make, probably the way you think, probably the way you talk, the interactions you have on a day-to-day basis. That's your box, and it's okay. Hopefully it's a good box. But the deepest part of you, your soul, it always wants to grow. It always wants to expand. So therefore, that box at some point is going to limit you, and it will show up when you feel depressed, when you feel anxious, when you feel like something else should be taken out, something else should be going on in life. I should be growing. I should be experiencing other things. That's because your soul wants to do just that. Your soul is part of the universe, and the universe is always expanding, always growing. So therefore, it's your time to stretch the box. But how do you do it? You have to show up consistently over and over in a way that feels uncomfortable. So you move into the areas of your life that maybe you don't feel like you're ready for yet, but you step into them over and over and over again. And when you do that, it's going to feel like parts of you are dying, because quite literally, they actually are. It's the wheat getting separated from the chaff, right? It's like that real part of you that needs to move forward to go to the next level is the only thing that can move forward. And those other parts of you, maybe it's the people pleasing. Maybe it's the laziness. Maybe it's the negative self-talk. Maybe it's the gossip, whatever it is. Those parts of you can't move forward to the next level. They're not allowed. You won't be able to go to the next level. It's like you're playing a spiritual universal video game. You've beat one level, now you're at a new level. Guess what? You got to show up in a new way. New skills, new tools, new resources, new people around you, new way of thinking, new way of being. And that won't allow these other parts of you to go with you. So that's the cool thing about stretching your box, is certain parts you have to fall away. And also what takes place is other parts of you wake up. So all of a sudden, to be at this level, this new level in our metaphorical video game, you have to find new resources, new ways of thinking, new people to surround yourself with. Instead of being so linear in life, maybe you have to loosen up and be more fluid and go with the flow and let things go into your heart more, whatever that is, right? You'll learn that as you go through these different levels. And so you're constantly be called to metaphorically stretch that box. But you have to build a system that allows you to do it. Because again, it's your autopilot. And if you just leave it up to yourself, you won't naturally do it. That's one of the things I had someone once tell me. They're like, look, the difference between me and you is I understand I can't figure it out. You still think you can figure it out. I'm like, well, yeah, aren't I supposed to think I can figure it out? They're like, no, that's the difference. I don't think I can figure it out. And because I don't think I can figure it out, I built systems to guide me in my life. You don't have any systems. You're just trusting yourself, which is cool. Trust yourself, but you also need systems because you have a default system. I'm like, oh shit, like there it is. I'm just relying on my default system. Like, oh, I'll figure it out. I'll get there. But it wasn't until I started putting systems in place to continually stretch myself. Like, as an example, on a weekend, oftentimes, I will go out on a Friday night. I'll go out completely sober, and I'll go talk to men and women over and over and over again, because it's very uncomfortable at times. And people they'll push you aside. They'll do this, they'll reject you, whatever. But that's good because it strips certain parts of you. You have to learn to find inner core confidence, not confidence with their validation. And then that shows up in other areas of your life. So I might do that on a Friday. Saturday, I might go to improv class. I don't think I'm like an improv dude. I've never done acting, drama. That's not even why I do it. But it's because it teaches you to let go, to fully express yourself. And then I might make a video or something like that. And so I'm doing these things to allow myself to stretch my box. During the week, I might call certain people or make certain connections or put myself out here, whatever it is, always trying to continually stretch the box. But if I just allow myself to do an autopilot zone, you'll never fully get there. So you have to create the system that pushes you forward, and then you have to sell yourself on the system and the outcome that you're moving towards. So if you continue to do this, what might your life look like? If you don't do these things, what might your life look like? You can stay the same. That's cool. Have the same experiences, the same energy. But if you want different, if you want something different, you allow yourself to stretch the box over and over again. And remember, it's not supposed to be easy. You have to allow yourself to turn pro. You have to work on the art. There's going to be a long time where you get very little to no results. And you'll quit if you stare at the end, the outcome. Like, it's supposed to be like this. They had that. Why don't I have that? This isn't meant for me. You'll go through all kinds of inner dialogue, all kinds of situations along the way. You want to reach. You want to grab the thing to make it easier. Just make it easier. Someone just rescue me. Something just rescue me. But when you stay in the pocket, you just keep working. You're sharpening your craft. Remember, God, the universe, the goal isn't to make things easy for you. The goal is to wake you up. And that's what your pain, that's what your suffering is. It's an opportunity to wake up, to wake up. And that's your journey. That's what you're here for. You're here to grow. You're here to wake up. So find the thing that's going to stretch you a little bit, challenge the box, and watch your life change for the better. Head over to my website, troyfontana.co. Make sure you pick up my free resource there. And that way you'll also stay in tune for my upcoming book release. Can't wait to share it with you. It's going to be really, really powerful. Of course, like, share, subscribe. Send it to somebody who might benefit from it. I love you so much. Until next time. Peace.